All right, my next guest will finally make his UFC debut on July the 31st at UFC Vegas 33. And of course, is Collin Anglin on the show. Collin, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing, Ryan?
I'm doing good, man. I appreciate you taking a few minutes to join me here tonight. And we're not too far away from fight night. It is be here before you know it. So tell me, man, how has this camp been thus far?
It's been great. No problems, no issues. You know, everything's just been going great. I feel like the best I've ever been. You know, it's been a long layoff since my last fight. Um, Almost a year. Uh, and so since then, I mean, honestly, I feel like I've been in camp. You know, I've been training really hard every day. Yeah, I just feel like my game has improved so much. I'm really excited to show it off.
Now, I saw a previous interview you did, and you told James Lynch about, you withdrawing from that fight in February, that you just wanted to be 100%. You wanted to go into the fight feeling as good as you possibly can. Do you feel like a lot of fighters nowadays maybe don't do necessarily the smart thing and take the time off like you did and come back when you're really as close to 100% as you can be? Because you see a lot of guys or girls that are taking short notice fights, and they may or may not go their way. Like, is that your rationale sometimes when you're thinking about when to step back into the cage?
Yeah, absolutely. It's I'm signed. I don't need to risk anything, for my first fight. Uh, so um, yeah, I do see that a lot. I see a lot of people take short notice fights, um, especially guys like just to get into the UFC, and a lot of them aren't ready, and some of them are dealing with injuries or whatever. But it's their their big chance, their big opportunity. So they feel they have to take it. um, I didn't have to take that fight. Like I said, I'm a UFC athlete. I don't. Um, there was no rush, and that I'm not in this. I'm not in the UFC to make a short run or this and that. I'm in it for the long haul, and I got to do what's best for my career.
Yeah, that makes sense. Outside of the normal, bumps and bruises and grind that is training camp and that you mixed martial artists have to do to get yourself ready for fight night, were there any pre-existing injuries or any things that were like really hampering you leading up to that fight in February?
Um, Nothing like crazy. Just some personal things that were going on that I just had to heal up and get better.
Gotcha. Another thing I wanted to ask you too, it seems like everyone that I talk to nowadays that are on the cusp of making it to the UFC, it's like that's the only thing that's going to satisfy them. But the sport of MMA is growing so fast, man. There's so many great promotions that are out there. Do you feel like that might not be the best mindset for a lot of younger fighters that are trying to evolve? Because you could still make it to the UFC at a little bit later of an age and fight for Bellator or ONE or PFL. There's so many other options. But do you feel like that might be hampering a lot of younger fighters who just feel like they have to make it into the UFC?
Yeah, for sure. I think that, I mean, obviously the UFC is like the pinnacle. I think, and I think a lot of others share that view. But you know, is it the only option for these young fighters? Like, absolutely not. I think that I think fighting in the UFC is a huge step. It's a huge step in your career, but it's also a huge step, like in competition. I mean, no matter who you fight when you're in the UFC, it's going to be a extremely hard fight, and you have a really tough opponent who has also worked his ass to be there. Worked his ass off to be there. Um, and so like, and that's the same way, for these other promotions too. I believe, and um, but no, I don't think it's a bad idea to You know, if you're not ready for the UFC, or if the UFC is not calling, but these other promotions are calling, and they're big opportunities such as you know, Bellator, PFL, One, you know, I mean, why wouldn't you jump on that? And if UFC's, you know, your main goal, well, then those can all just be, you know, stepping stones to get there.
Yeah, very well said. It just seems like everyone I talk to, it's like it's the UFC or bust.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the UFC is clearly the top promotion in the world. There's no doubt about that. Tell me about Colorado, man. Training camp. I see you're at Factory X. You're going golfing with Dustin Jacoby. A lot of killer
Yeah,
you're with, man. How has it been?
it's awesome. I mean, you know, I come from a, you know, a bigger gym in Michigan, Scorpion Fighting System, but as far as you know, competition level and stuff like that, we're talking, you know, when I left, as you know, when I left my gym in Michigan, we had we didn't have anyone in the UFC, and uh, when I came out to, and you know, I made the move to Factory X in Inglewood, Colorado, and you know, now I'm training, you know, every day. I have, you know, 15 other UFC fighters in the gym with me, who I can learn from, who I can train with, and you know, get beat up a little bit. So it's amazing. I mean, it's a world class gym, with world class athletes and world class coaches. You know, you can't ask for anything better than that.
Who are some of the main guys you're working with this camp?
Um, see, Jonathan Martinez was just out for a few weeks training with me. Alex Hernandez. Let's see, Yusuf Zalal, Chris Gutierrez. I don't, Vince Pichel. Just Devontae Smith's out right now. You know, I constantly have people around my weight or weight class above or weight class below, uh, who are doing great things, and you know, who I'm training with constantly. And
Yeah,
then like you know, even the guys coming up in my gym, like that, you know, we have a few amateurs and a few pros who are just like amazing fighters and who are going to do great things in the sport. And you know, I honestly think some of them are better than some of the guys I'll fight in the UFC. So even those guys coming up are such a huge help.
yeah, very well said. Clearly one of the best gyms on planet Earth,
Yeah.
in Colorado, Factory X. What is that weight cut like for you to featherweight? Is it pretty easy?
Yeah. Yeah. It's not bad. Um, I have a great nutritionist, Mary Vance. She's out of Brighton, Michigan, and I've worked with her my entire professional career. And you know, I've never missed weight, and I've never had trouble getting down to 45. So and I don't ever stop working with her. You know, so like when I'm not in camp, I'm constantly, you know, on calls with her, and sticking to my nutrition, and you know, just making sure like my weight's always good. So it's not a struggle.
Do you have a weakness for any specific food or anything? For me, it's pizza, man. I look at pizza and I feel like I put on 5 pounds.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely pizza. I love pizza. Let's see. My wife makes amazing cookies, so uh, that's tough to stay away from. Um, Yeah, I mean, really, pizza and cookies like are my weakness. It's like it's tough. It's like you know, I go through withdrawals when I have to stop eating those. But
Uh, I feel you, man. Tell me about yourself outside of MMA. Like, what hobbies do you get into? I saw on your Instagram, you know, you were at a Rockies game recently. Are you a big sports fan? Like, do you get into baseball, basketball, football?
yeah, I'm a huge hockey fan. You know, love the NHL. and I played hockey growing up, so yeah, it's one of my favorite sports. I love football, NFL, and college football. Um, see,
Are
really,
you
that's about it. Go ahead. What?
a Lions fan?
Yeah, honestly, I didn't really get into football until I went to college. Um, and so like, I am a Lions fan, but at the same time, I don't like I hope they do great, and it seems like they're on the right track, to doing so. In a few years, they got a new head coach, and they really shuffled around administration, and I hope that goes well for them. But really, I just like watching a good football game. You know, it's football Sundays. I just sit on the couch all day and watch everything.
Me
So
as well. Barry
yeah.
Sanders, greatest running back ever, planet Earth. I'll just say that. Uh,
Yeah, I agree.
Give me your feedback on, I guess, your performance at Dana White's Contender Series, because that's when you really came to the light of all the MMA fans across the country. Being a really tough guy via there, man. So, what was your overall takeaway from that whole experience?
Yeah, it was amazing. I think it's a great opportunity for people on the cusp to get their name out there, and even if they don't get signed, you see people win on Contender Series, and then go on to these other promotions that you just mentioned and do great things there. But yeah, obviously, I got signed, so it was a little bit, better for me. And yeah, that was a fun fight. It was a dog fight. Um, really brought a lot out of me. I had to dig deep and find that win. I was trying to end him, but the dude just wouldn't go down. Uh, but yeah, it was a great experience. I mean, just even like you know, going to Vegas and going to the Apex, the UFC Apex, and um, meeting like the entire UFC staff, well, most of them, and then meeting, obviously Dana White and all that. It's a great experience, and yeah, I'm super grateful for that opportunity.
Now, your UFC debut will be back at the Apex. Are you disappointed that you're not going to be on a Conor McGregor card and fighting in front of a zillion fans, or are you happy that maybe you're back at the Apex? You'll be able to hear your corner giving you any advice if that is something you might need.
Yeah, that's a nice thing to have, to be able to you know hear everything my corner says and all that. But yeah, I was really hoping it would be in front of a crowd. I mean, it doesn't bother me that it's not, like, as far as like, I don't think it's gonna mess with my performance at all. Especially fighting on Contender Series. That was a crazy experience, and um, so I've been there. I don't think that it's gonna mess with me, but yeah, I definitely was hoping that my debut would be in front of a crowd. But it is what it is.
You'll have more opportunities, so no worries.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, before we dive in and talk about your specific matchup here, I do want to get your picks for the big fight this weekend: Conor McGregor, Dustin Poirier 3. I'm sure you've heard of it. A couple of popular guys.
Yeah, a little bit.
How do you think it's going to shake out, man?
It's so tough. I keep going back and forth. Um, I like them both, and it's just it's a tough decision. I kind of am leaning towards Connor. Uh, it's tough for me. Like I said, I'm going like back and forth. I mean, like, even right now, I'm like, yeah, I'm leaning towards Connor, but then I'm like, I don't know. Like, I just watched the interview where Dustin was like, he was saying, what was he saying? How he sees himself getting a submission, and I'm like, oh man, like, that's not good for Connor. If he goes out there and takes him down and looks for a sub, that's not great for Connor. But Yeah, I don't know. I just think that I thought Connor in the first fight was I thought his hands looked better. I know he got knocked out, TKO'd, but leading up to that, I just thought he looked so fast and he was putting things together super nice. He was like extremely boxer heavy, and that's what I think was bad for his leg, getting leg kicked. He was so heavy on his front leg. And then also, he just wasn't as dynamic as he is when he's in that like karate stance and really moving around. So I think that this fight, I'm hoping that he's more like that, like his old fights, where he's not just only boxing, he's throwing kicks, he's doing everything. Um, so it's tough. I think Connor could pull it off. Yeah, I'm gonna go towards Connor.
Okay, fair enough. I'm
Yeah,
in the same boat as you are, man. I keep going back and forth too. I feel like if it ends early, it's going to be because Connor clips him and finishes him in the first or second round. But I
yeah,
think it's out of the second round. I'm leaning Poirier. I just feel like he'll be able to be the better, more durable fighter as the fight goes on. But we'll see.
yeah. I agree with that. Yeah, I mean, uh, Poirier is a dog, so yeah, those later rounds, I do, yeah, I see those going to Poirier. So we'll see.
It's going to be fun. All right, let's talk
Yeah, it is.
your UFC debut, your opponent. He's 5-1. He's a Contender Series vet as well. Melsik Baghdasaryan. Hopefully, I did that relatively close. It's a
I'm not
difficult
sure.
thing to say. But
Yeah.
what do you think about this guy? How do you like this matchup?
I love it. I think he's uh I think he's a similar matchup to my last opponent on Contender Series. I think that yeah, I mean I love the matchup. I really don't see him beating me anywhere. Um so I'm happy. I know it's gonna be a tough fight. Like I told you before, you're in the UFC, you're fighting tough guys. Every guy you fight, every fight you have is going to be, your hardest fight, after that, once you get in. Um, so, uh, so I'm not like downplaying him at all, but I just really, after watching him, I just really don't see where he can beat me. So, I'm excited for it.
Do you feel like he's going to be durable enough to stay in the fight for all 3 rounds, or do you think a finish is on deck?
Well, I hope I get a finish. I won't be like going out there, just looking for a finish. I hope one comes, but I'm ready to go all three. From what I've seen of him, he's pretty durable as far as taking shots and stuff like that. Um, but I don't know. I do see myself finishing him. Honestly, like I don't really like to predict these things, because if it doesn't go your way, you kind of just look like an asshole. Um, and meaning like if I'm looking for a finish, I get a unanimous decision. I don't know. I don't love that, but I do see myself like every time I envision it, I see myself finishing him either way, like sub or KO. So we'll
Awesome,
see.
man. Well, I
Yeah,
can't wait. Again, July 31st, Collin Anglin will make his UFC debut at UFC Vegas 33. Pleasure interviewing you here for the first time, man. Before I let you go, I want to give you the floor. Tell people where to follow you on social media, and if you have anyone to thank, the floor is yours.
absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you for having me on. It's a great interview. I appreciate it. I want to thank my team, Factory X, all my teammates and all my coaches. They're amazing. I want to thank my nutritionist, who I mentioned before, Mary Vance, out of Brighton, Michigan. Um, she's you know she's she's brilliant, and amazing at what she does. And then I want to thank Wellbiss Labs, which is a CBD product um, that I use, and they've helped me out tremendously um, with their products, and yeah, throughout this camp. Um, and my management team, Iridium Sports.